Who or what inspired you to attend an HBCU?
My Sunday school teacher, well, let me back up. It's a great question. The person who inspired me to look at HBCUs was my Sunday school teacher, Mrs. Adams. She was a graduate of St. Aug College, St. Augustine College in Raleigh. And she would come during Sunday school with brochures and show us brochures and talk to us about going to college. Neither of my parents went to college, so I was the first in my family, to attend college. And I actually selected North Carolina A&T from a brochure. Never did a college tour, never went on the campus. So the first day I was on the campus, my parents were dropping me off. And the great advice that my dad gave me, because they really couldn't talk to me about how to navigate a system they had never been in. So they gave me a quilt, handmade quilt that my grandmother had made, and a few dollars, and their advice to me was just, son, don't get into trouble, as they drove off.
So, take me through that first day. You just got dropped off on campus, and what's going through your head at that moment?
Wow. The fact that I'd never been in an environment like that, and you had people from, all walks of life, and just really day one, just trying to, walk around and, learn the campus. And that's really what I did. Fortunately for me, one of my best friends also went to North Carolina A&T, and we went together because we were high school classmates, etc. So it wasn't as though I was there by myself, but being able to, for he and I, that was his first time at North Carolina A&T as well, we sort of explored the campus together on our first day.
I mean, how would you best describe your HBCU experience the entire time you were there?
Transformational. It was like being a part of a huge community, an extension of the community that I grew up in, where everyone raised everyone. Parents, you raise the neighbors' kids, just as though my parents were sort of parents to the neighborhood as well. But having professors and counselors who literally said, we're not going to let you fail, and then to put their arms around you and to navigate you through a system that you weren't familiar with, but also to give you an environment where you felt comfortable and safe and at home. It was a transformational experience. And it gave me a sense of confidence, because they also instilled in us that, you're not better than other people, but no one is better than you. And so that led to a sense that, you could do anything, and you were capable of doing anything, regardless of whatever your environment was or whom you were having to compete with to do it.
How did North Carolina A&T prepare you for your professional endeavors?
It prepared me by, again, giving me the confidence. It reaffirmed, because my mother used to say, son, you could do anything you want if you put your mind to it. And what they did, and attending North Carolina A&T, just reaffirmed that. It told me how, and they showed me how. And so when I left there, I was fully prepared mentally to really handle any challenge that would come before me. One of my professors, Professor Morris, taught 2 classes, and I had to take them both. One was heating and air conditioning design, industrial engineering, and the other one was strength of materials. And he had, Professor Morris's strategy for testing was you either get 0 or 100, because his philosophy was, if you're designing bridges, you don't have room for error. If it's not accurate, then people can get killed or die if you're building bridges or buildings. And so I went to class, 8 o'clock class, and he goes through the roll, calling names, etc. Then I had a 1 o'clock class. So my 8 o'clock class was heating and air conditioning design. The 1 o'clock class was strength of materials. So he's going through the roll, and he's John Grant. He looks up, Mr. Grant, weren't you in my class this morning at 8? Yes, sir. He said, well, you need to drop this class. No one takes 2 classes under me in 1 year, so I'm recommending you drop. And I was like, no, sir, I need this class to get out. That was probably, and he challenged me the entire semester. It was probably the hardest semester I ever had because I didn't do anything except study because I was determined that I was going to pass. Fortunately, through a lot of hard work, but also, you know, he had an open door policy to his office. You know, it wasn't come at office hours. If you needed help, you could go in to see him at any given time. And we ended up, you know, passing both classes. And at the end, I remember him saying to me, he said, you know, I'm proud of you because 99.9% of the people, if I told them to drop the class, they would. And you didn't. And that gave me another sense of confidence in my abilities. That my mom said, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it.
So there's 2 really important, I would say, bookends of the college football season. The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge and, of course, the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Do you want to take me a little bit and explain both of those to me?
Well, the MEAC SWAC Challenge, Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge was actually launched in 2005 in Birmingham, Alabama. It was designed, the game was designed to give these HBCU Division I conferences, the Mideastern Athletic Conference, MEAC, and the Southwestern Athletic Conference, SWAC, sort of a bowl environment but at the beginning of the season because they didn't have a bowl game. So the game was launched, it was a 3 or 4 day type of experience as they would go into a bowl game, and it was initially designed to take the champion from the past year in each conference would play each other. It evolved from there. So it was in Birmingham for 3 years, and then it moved to Orlando, played out of what's now Camping World Stadium for a number of years. As a matter of fact, the Walt Disney Company was the title sponsor for about 7 years. After that sponsorship went away, it moved on to campus, from campus to campus, Bethune-Cookman, then to Southern University. And then the idea was, well, what do we do with this game? Because in 2015, the Celebration Bowl was launched as an official bowl game, as a national championship between the champions of those 2 same conferences, the actual champions. So in a conversation, we lobbied to move the game to Atlanta. Really just take, quite frankly, you know, Gary Stokin and the Peach Bowl Inc., he's been a friend and a sort of an advisor for me over the years, and I saw what they were doing with the kickoff game and with the bowl game and said, you know what, we can do that too. So let us have the kickoff game here, and we moved it here into Atlanta in 2018. So it gave us the ability on Labor Day weekend, Sunday of Labor Day weekend, to launch, which is where the game had always been played. Gave us a chance to launch college football in Atlanta, HBCU football, and then close it in Atlanta with the Celebration Bowl. And then in 2021, we actually moved the game out of Labor Day weekend in week 1 to week 0 to tremendous success because it gave us an opportunity really to be a part of launching the season in week 0. And in 2021, you know, our point to ESPN was, you know, what do we want week 0 to be? And we could really use that to really give a running start into week 1. And 2021 was the largest weekend of week 1 college football ever for ESPN. Now, did we have anything to do with it? I'm going to take credit for it, though, that we were a part of it. But also, the 2021 Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoffs was the second most watched FCS game in history. We had Good Morning America here. We had First Take was a part of it. College Football Live, College Game Day on Saturday morning, and then being able to move that game into week 0 allowed us to put it in prime time on ESPN at 7 p.m. So it just really built out what the vision we had as a true platform that allows us to begin in Atlanta and then we end in Atlanta.
What do you envision going forward for both of those games?
Well, the sky's the limit. Our goal is always, and our team, we work very hard to make sure that we are, creating great content, and that content is content that people consume. So we look at it not as that we're putting on football games. We look at it and we work at it as though we're creating content, and we want that content to begin to be, valuable content to people who are consuming it in person. They're there. People who are consuming it, if they're watching it through linear television, or people who are consuming it if they're watching it through their mobile or streaming device. But when you look at it as content, content has to always evolve to keep it interesting. And so if we can build those sort of stories and evolving stories around the game and create content that people are interested and desire consuming, that's what we see, and we don't think that there's any end to that. It's an opportunity to constantly evolve and be better.
What do you think HBCUs need to do to continue to thrive?
Believe, and I'm going to borrow that from Coach Prime down at Jackson State, which is what he's instilling at Jackson State. You just have to believe. HBCUs have something that no one else can have. And, and that is the kind of community that they build, and that they are able to take a person like me, who grew up on a farm, and whose parents didn't attend college. So to be the first generation, and every one of my siblings behind me went to college because of that. And that's what they do. And in doing so, they're creating a very, very valuable asset for our nation. If you look at it as a production system, a manufacturing system, and you have varying raw materials, you have to have a system that can process each of the varying materials. And not every system can do that or is designed to do that. And if we do that and do that well, which HBCUs do well, then you don't leave anything behind. You're able to use it all. And so that's their role. And what we have to continue to do, and what they have to continue to do, is to believe in that, to continue to encourage and connect alumni in the community, and then sell their story, because it's a great story worth investing in. If you want companies who are looking for talent, you don't have to look far. All you have to do is invest in the system that's creating that talent, and you're in the front of the line to receive that talent when it comes out the other end. Raw material coming in, human asset capital coming out the end of it, and you're first in line to benefit.
What's a piece of advice you have for the next generation of players, coaches, young professionals?
The same advice that my mother always gave me. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it.
Last question, this is a little more fun. Does A&T truly have the greatest homecoming on earth?
Yes.
What's your favorite part about homecoming?
Community. People come back, and it's a huge community for those that were there with you, those that were there before you, those who are there after you. It's one big family, and that's the really exciting thing about going back. It's connecting with family.